Good morning. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. And I am thrilled to have you here. Let me know that you're joining me as you are joining me. And I'm just going to share this a little bit. And so that we can all be in this together. I'm going to share it on my group, Courageous Conversations, which I'd love you to join because it's a spot for support as you're making your courageous choices in life. And also, I'm going to share it on my Courageous Conversations page, which is, another great place for you to keep in touch with me and what it is that I'm doing. And I'm going to share it on a couple of other pages as well because I want more people to come on as we're talking about this important topic, which is, incredibly common. Everyone is doing it as I see it. I see it in the office really commonly. I myself have done it. Many people I know have done it, which is to fight from a place of the child. So I'm just going to wait for a couple more people. Thank you for coming on. Gabby, George, nice to see you. It's all about, fighting from a more adult place, but very often people are fighting from a not very adult place. And I got to tell you, it's super common. I mean, you find yourself in a conflict and you find yourself saying things you don't want to say. You find yourself feeling things that you never thought you were feeling. The emotions are overwhelming. The pain is just incredible. And you find yourself losing your power, experiencing tremendous amounts of, disempowered, and then speaking from that place. And this is a, I work with couples, I work with adult families, business partnerships, all kinds of stuff. And I gotta tell you, it is the number one. I posted a picture, this incredible picture that Alexander Milov, who did a sculpture at Burning Man, and I will post it here in the comments for you to see, because it is an incredible depiction of, I would say, the most precise. Actually, I'm not able to post it right now, but I'll post it later and see it in my feed, in my Victoria Lorient page feed. This picture of it's like a sculpture of two people that have been sort of in conflict. They're upset at each other, and it's a sculpture, and it's made out of wire, and inside, hi Andrew, great to see you. Inside are two children. Inside the bodies are two children actually looking for, connection in some way. And I believe that most conflict that is off the rails, not balanced, very tantrumous, illogical, asking the other person to change, wanting the other person to fill their hole, wanting the other person to do something that they don't want to do. This is the nature of when the child, the hurt child, the rebellious child, the angry child, the child that didn't get what they needed, that's who's fighting. It's not an adult fighting. It's not a full mature adult fighting. It's a child fighting. And it doesn't matter what age the person is that is fighting. It is the inner child that is not, doing a service to the conflict at all, who's fighting. And what I see in a lot of fights, in a lot of these types of things, is that you can't get out of it unless you start to really become extraordinarily conscious of what it is that you're bringing to the table at any given moment in that conflict. You're not going to know at all what precisely is going on. All you're going to know is that you feel this drive to be heard, to get what you want, to change the other person, to experience a tremendous amount of, I'm not getting what I need, and I'm vomiting on the scene what it is that I want. And it's done in a way that the message is constantly from a very, very child-oriented place. And I'm telling you, it's not something that people are entirely aware of when they're doing it. And I'll be watching a couple fight in front of me, or a business partnership or something, and I will say, so what it is, I will ask questions that will elicit a more conscious experience from the people that are actually in the conflict. And I'll ask questions so that I'm interrupting that part of the person that is just in that reactivity. The child will be reactive. The child will be impulsive. The child will be not taking responsibility for their feelings. And the thing is, that's really, really interesting is that, you know, once you're in that reactive place, that activated place, it's coming from the fight flight part of the brain. It's not coming from the part of the brain that is calm. It's part of the nervous system that is survival mode. When you're in that, it's so hard to deactivate that. It's like, you know, there are 3 ways to deactivate that. Breathe slowly, create touch and affection. These are things that calm down the fight flight, the amygdala part of the system. But if you're not, you know, if you're already activated, if you're already in the fight, if you're already in the, you know, like in the you this and you that and you versus I feel and I think and this is where I'm coming from. Because can you tell how different that is? You are this and you are that and you are this and you are that is very much reaction, you know, is unconscious speech. It's criticism, shaming, blaming. All of that does not come from the adult. Because you can be saying the same thing, but from an adult perspective. And you don't, when you're in the adult, you're logical, you're non-judgmental, you're non-shaming, you're non-blaming. You've thought out your argument to begin with. You're not just flying off the rails. You're not just, you know, saying, hey, you know, I want to get my message across in a non, you know, it's never going to work. Yes, Andrew, exactly. Be aware. Absolutely. And the truth of the matter is that when you operate from the child, it's not just the child, because the child could be playful. No, the child is unaware. The child is very much about getting their immediate needs met. The child is very much all about, you have to really, really describe what a child is about. And a child is about immediate gratification, about right now, right here. It's very in the moment. It's very impulsive. There's no options for the child. It's essentially, it's not looking at the bigger picture, you know. And the point is that if most people who are not troubleshooting the self, I talk about troubleshoot the self. If you don't troubleshoot the self, you will always operate, and I say always in a very deliberate way, you will most often and always operate from that unconscious part of you if you're not troubleshooting. I can't tell you how many people in the office are saying to me, you know, when we break open, unpack a conflict, and you know, so what choice did I have, Victoria? I had to yell and scream. It's the only way I'm going to get heard. They don't listen if I don't yell and scream, or something to that effect. And I'm saying, well, the truth of the matter is that there is, yeah, Cheryl, exactly. The child is feeling trapped and cornered. The truth of the matter is that the child isn't really assessing logically the rest of the situation. Children don't. I mean, it takes an exceptional child. And I would say that child that is operating in this way in the fight is under 10, you know, and only 10, 11, 12 will a child start to have a bigger picture, a bigger world view, really start to develop empathy. And because as children, I got to tell you, we're a little all sociopathic. We're like, give me what I want, give me now, this is what I need, this is what it is. Hey, me. It's kind of, we're kind of narcissistic, and we're kind of like, I don't care what you feel. I don't care what you feel. The child is very selfish, and not selfish in a good way. I mean, we want ourselves to be selfish in a good way, self-care, but the child is like, I don't care. I don't get what I want, and guess what? I'm going to let you know, and I don't care how I let you know. I'm just going to lay it on you. And then I promise you what happens afterwards is guilt, shame because of the temper tantrum. There's a cycle of a really tough cycle that happens after a temper tantrum. I've had my temper tantrums even as as recently as a couple of weeks ago. So this is, and by the way, nobody is immune from this stuff. I'm not certainly saying that you need to be perfect. I want you to be aware. I want you to own your shit. I want you to make amends quickly. John Gottman says in he's the father of couples therapy, fix it quickly. You make a mistake, fix it quickly. So hopefully the awareness will mitigate how long the temper tantrum, the child motivation, will be in the picture. And the other thing that I really want you to know is be compassionate, be self-accepting, be compassionate. You are a valuable, beautiful, wonderful individual who deserves to get their needs met, but you really need to troubleshoot how you go about the business of getting your needs met. And be compassionate toward yourself. But compassion for self does not mean that you have the right to lay and vomit your shit on other people, right? This is so important. You must take responsibility for yourself. The child does not take responsibility for themselves most naturally. So the adult needs to. The adult needs to take responsibility. And the truth of the matter is that if you do not become aware of your inner reactivity, you are doomed to repeat cycles of the unresolved child patterning. The unresolved, deprived child, hurt child patterning. And that's unfortunate because I believe that ruins relationships. That makes people deeply unhappy in their relationships. And, just recently I was talking to someone who was saying really reasonable things about their partner, wanting their partner to pick up the slack, pull their weight, do what they, do as much as they do, be a partner, be considerate, all reasonable things to want from your partner. But they were saying it in a very shaming, blaming, ostracizing, off-putting way. And then they came and tell me in the office all these things that they're now telling their partner. And guess what? Well, what do you think happened to the partner? The partner just, obviously shut down, went back into their garage or wherever they go, into their cave, and just said, F you, I'm not interested. Don't come at me with your crap, because everything that is being said, blah, 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 I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it. So in the end, what ends up happening is that the very thing that is important for this couple to start to create together is lost, is gone, because the person said to me in the office, well, I have a right to have an equal partner that does things and and picks up the slack and all these things. I'm like, of course you do, and they need to know what it is that they're doing. They need to know, and I just think, okay, really? And they need to change. That's a big sign that you're in your child. They need to change. People aren't going to change because you demand them to change, by the way. Just by the way. People aren't going to change because it's right for them to change. No, people change because they choose to change, because they want to change, and because they have a decision that they are making for themselves about changing. Themselves. Okay? Stop asking, or rather stop demanding that other people change. That's the child saying, give me what I want when I want it now. Give me what I want when I want it now. That's the child in action. And why does that show up? That is the thing I really want to look at here. Why does the child show up? The child show up because the family of origin was such that the child did not get what they need. And I'm not blaming the family of origin. I'm just saying that's the result, that possibly there were major mitigating circumstances that caused the children to not be nurtured or cared for, or maybe the parents were busy, or maybe there's a war, or maybe there's refugee situation. I mean, my gosh, there are so many things that will cause a child to not feel cared for and nurtured and safeness and loved and experiencing all of that. This is not about blaming parents. This is about understanding the results of these circumstances that sometimes are completely out of everyone's control. But there are results, and the results are the unresolved, deprived, hurt child continues into adulthood. And then that stuff gets played upon in the adult relationships. So what I'm looking at is the why is, as you're entering adulthood, it's so important to really, really work on nurturing your inner child. And it's not hokey. It's not hokey. It is important. It is necessary to not repeat multi-generational dysfunction where you're frustrated, so you put it onto your kids, and you didn't get what you needed, so guess what? They're not going to get what they need, and then they're going to be pissed off, and then they're not going to get what... It's like this multi-generational thing. It's like... And by the way, just a little piece of tidbit of information here. If a person didn't get nurtured and loved in the way they needed to feel safe in their childhood, and they're not aware of it, here's a clue to know whether that's happening. Do you resent children that are nurtured? Do you feel jealous of children that are getting their parents' full attention and love? Do you resent that your own children are getting that full attention and love and getting filled, and then feel like, how did they get? I never got that. They're getting that. That's an important thing to decode within yourself. That is a massive thing to look at. And when people realize, oh my God, I am resenting my children because they are getting so much that I never got, or I feel pissed off when I see other kids getting the love that I never got. Whoa, it's like a wake-up call. It's like a light bulb going off. And if that is the case, then you need to work on your own love of you, your own nurturing of you, your own healing of you. And that means repetitive daily visualizing of loving yourself, and repetitive daily making choices that are self-nurturing, self-caring, self-acknowledging, self-compassion, self-acceptance. That's massive in terms of transforming how you begin to behave, or how you continue to behave with your own children and with other people's children. And also in fights in the adult world, your own fights. Andrew King says, we don't need to justify love. I love that statement. It is there or not there. Real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. If we try to change them, this means we don't really like them. Well, it's true. Although in human interpersonal relationships, I find that we can have two emotions, three emotions going on at once. We can all at once love and like someone and also resent the crap out of them. So it's not all one, Andrew. It's oh, that's Don Miguel. Okay, great. All right, Don Miguel. But honestly, we can love someone and not like them. We can deeply, deeply, want them to be in our life, but all at once want them to change. So I see that, interpersonal relationships have multi-layers of how we feel. But no matter what, we have a responsibility to grow ourselves up, to be the adult, to come to the table with non-impulsiveness, with a sense of if you're going to have a conflict with someone in an adult way, guess what you need to be doing? You need to write down, troubleshoot the self, write down what you feel, and turn every sentence that you feel about the other person into I feel, I think, and what I am experiencing is. I feel, I think, what I am experiencing is. And say it in a calm way. And set it up so that you can succeed at the conflict versus setting yourself up for failure, which is coming from the child. The hurt, deprived, rebellious child, unresolved child. So this is a massively important piece for people to have these courageous conversations with themselves and with others, to come into the adult and to really, really nurture and to understand, troubleshoot what's going on with yourself. Is that child been lying dormant there, but really kind of seething in the background, resenting everything and resenting, the reality that you're in? And so if that's the case, go in there on a fishing expedition, grab that inner child and grow them up through some therapy. Sometimes you need to, visualize loving and nurturing the child, reparent yourself, reparent yourself. Cheryl Gregory says, sometimes parents don't have what the child needs because they didn't get it themselves. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Exactly. I mean, really, forgive for you. Somebody once said, at a conference, and I love it, and it's been said in memes, forgiveness is the key to unlock the cage that you're in, not they are in. Forgiveness is giving yourself the key to unlock the key that you're in. the cage of anger, resentment, and of basically stunting your growth at the age where you never got the love you needed. And so it's time to unstunt the growth, unlock the cage, grow the child up through loving the child, forgiving the child, accepting the child, having compassion for yourself and the child, and to really, really start to come to the table of all of your conflicts from the I perspective versus the you blame perspective, and transform your relationships so that, again, multi-generational wellness is what I'm all about. And the only way you're going to change that, is if you allow for the child within you that's running the show, and I do say ruining the show, to grow and to be nurtured, and to not let them just take over. Not let them just take over, because they will take over. Children can be, they'll just want to run everything. So it's a very powerful switch when you are in relationships, that you operate from not the child, but from the adult. I hope this was helpful. I love having my courageous conversations with you, and I love that you're all joining me on this journey. Share this video widely because I think people will be really benefiting from it. And also, if you get a chance, join my group, Courageous Conversations, because if you're making courageous choices, courageous acts like what we're talking about here today, you're going to want the support. You are going to want the support. And I'm just wishing you an amazing time as you nurture the child, as you come into the adult, and as you courageously enter into conflicts from the adult perspective versus letting the child run and ruin the show. Okay? So keep having courageous conversations with yourself, troubleshoot the self, and with others. And all I can say to you is keep up the amazing work that you're doing on yourself, and keep tuning in. Next Tuesday, I come back with another courageous conversation. Have an amazing day, and we will talk at you soon and talk with you soon. I'm preparing some really cool stuff, so where we're going to do some work together, all of us. So stay tuned. Have a brilliant day. Bye for now.